Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where best friends recap romance novels while inviting cherished pals to guide us through new worlds.
Gonna love what we love, do it out loud. Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, I don't know if you need to hear this, but there's only 24 more days until spring. I, for one, am pumped to see nature wake up again. I need it so badly. This Friday on the bonus feeds, we've got more Sea Sand Warriors for you. Sabrina is giving us quickies on the next few books in Ursidax's Alien series. That's this Friday on the Patreon or Apple Podcast feeds. This week, we're embarking on a new journey with a great pal. We're recapping Darkfever, the first book in Karen Marie Moning's Fever series. And luckily, BFF Rebecca is here to shepherd us through the lore. Here's part 1 of our recap of Darkfever by Karen Marie Moning. Hello. I almost didn't record on the place that's gonna record Rebecca. Y'all, we have Rebecca here today. Oh my god, I'm so glad you're here, Rebecca.
Me too.
For so many reasons.
I'm delighted.
You know, guys, I'm really, really happy to be here. I'm really like, I feel like I was made for this moment in time. Like I was
You've certainly
born.
been training for it.
I've been working towards it.
Yeah.
And when Sabrina in the group chat was like, "Hey, has anybody read this book?" I was like, I like a Kool-Aid man through the wall to get to her. And also, I've been honestly deathly ill. Like I had a sinus infection and I was healed by the power of antibiotics. But then I feel like I came all the way back to life. By learning.
thought you were about to say that you were healed by the power of Karen Marie Moning and Darkfever.
I do feel like I was fully resurrected back to life by the idea of talking about this book with you two.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm so freaking excited.
Well, because like,
Hell yeah.
okay, so I was like halfway through the book and I started messaging all of my group chats of people who may have read this book because I have questions, okay? And I also, like, I need some
so many
spoilers.
questions.
Because, like...
I am going to need a couple spoilers. I already got right in your face, Rebecca, and I asked you for a spoiler, and you didn't give it to me.
What was the
I was so
spoiler you asked
mad
for?
at you. I asked if what's-his-fuck is a druid, or at least part druid. But now I'm thinking that the big bad is a druid. Oh, I don't know who's a druid, but somebody fucking is.
Somebody's
God
gotta
damn
be.
it. Somebody's got to be.
Someone's gotta be.
What? When did you ask that?
She snuck it in today.
Yeah. I snuck
I
it
was
in.
here?
I think I went to Facebook Messenger. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
You
was
were like, I must know. I must know right now.
Did I, like... Did I just, like, enter a
Did I enter my own
state
dark
for a
fever?
second? Like, I was just like, actually, you know what? I'm just not here for a minute. Sorry.
Maybe that's why this has revived me, because last week I was in my own dark fever, and now the dark fever has exited my body and I get to speak about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm really
great.
excited because both Sabrina and I are brand newbies to this series. And so I really think like we're gonna really benefit from your point of view, because otherwise we would just be out here like blind little lambs. You know what I mean? And so we need your wisdom and your experience. And I'm stoked about it. Because like, here's the thing. This was written, in the aughts?
Yeah, it's
2006.
so old.
Yeah.
So
okay.
old.
Boy. You could,
Oh
you
yeah,
could tell
it's dated.
sometimes.
And yeah. Oh, her iPod and how much she loves her trusty
shit.
iPod is kind of the best. But more than that, the way that narratively we're getting her first person perspective, but it's almost like a journal in some cases.
Yeah. Or
She
like
refers
a
to us as
recording,
you.
like telling
Yeah.
somebody the story after
Yeah,
the fact.
and like sometimes she comes in with like historical facts that I couldn't figure out how the fuck she would know. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it seems like it's obvious that she's talking from like, eons down the line. But
It's a year.
because of what?
It's 1 year. In the first chapter, she talks about how in the last year, it's 1 year. It's not eons.
Oh, it's only 1 year?
Yeah.
You know, a lot happened in 1 year. What can you say?
Wow. It really sounded like 30 years. It sounded like a Handmaid's Tale situation.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
this
literally,
was-
like, the first line of the book practically is her being like, I've learned a lot in the past year.
Yep.
And then, like,
This really
talks
felt
about a
like
bunch of
a
stuff.
Empyrean
And then she
series.
goes, but let me start from the beginning.
That was a year. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot happens because she talks later about how, like, the dark zones, like, she coined the phrase dark zone and now everybody all over the world are calling them that. And I'm like,
Yep.
what's happening? Okay, so
Well, the
here
first
we go.
book only takes place over the course of, like, what, a month and a half? Maybe?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, like probably like 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Something bananas. Okay, so we open up and
Wait, what's your anecdote?
what's my anecdote? I forgot. Oh, friend update really quick. I'm sorry, listener. We have to do a friend update really quick. Y'all, the requisite 3rd grade recorder has entered the chat. And I kind of
Is this better?
know.
Is this better
What
or worse than
to
the whistling during Dark Lover?
Is it the same? Really is the question. Actually, no, it might be worse because he's just as obsessed with it, but now Valor apparently has decided that she's forgotten how to whistle. And so today, after I heard Ember play Hot Cross Buns for the 60th time this afternoon, I've heard Hot Cross Buns today more than I have in the past 20 years. I swear to God. And then Valor is in a totally different room, and I just hear her going, like not whistling, just doing the highest scream which possibly can.
Melody, no.
This is like this is like a duplicated curse. It's like what's the worst possible thing that could happen on a recorder? What's
Yes!
Now they're in stereo.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the friend update. I just had to
Okay.
get that off my chest.
I'm glad that you shared with us.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so when we open up, the prologue is her being like, in 4000 BC, some fae decided to murder up all these bitches who I'm apparently related to because they can see them and nobody else can see them. And then man signed some sort of pact with the fae, which doesn't
Yep.
make sense on its own because the fae like barely look at them as sentient beings.
Oh, interesting.
But then-
there was a pact.
It's just the prologue, dude. I don't know.
There was a pact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like the gross fae, the gross ones, were put in some
unseelie.
sort of the unseelie. Yep, the gross boys, the rhino boys.
The Rhino
Can I
Boys.
tell you how happy I was all book that I was like, Karen Marie Moning understands me.
I know she does.
Looking at something and being like, those rhino boys?
Oh, because they're called Rhino Boys. I didn't even register that.
You hate to be like this quirky bitch and then be like, oh, it's me, I quirky bitch. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, boy, she's a hell of a character whose head to be in this book. I was like,
Oh,
I
I
was
cannot
reading
wait
it,
to
and I
hear
was-
all of your thoughts.
but as I was reading, I was like, wow, this is. Is she always like that?
She's very Sookie Stackhouse coded for sure.
The first
She's
book,
very.
she's
I'm a waitress.
extremely legally blonde. Like,
Mm.
what? Like, it's hard?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
very, and I think she's supposed to be. And then over the course of the series, it doesn't get any less, like, voicey, the narration. But it definitely gets, she gets more, like, a little more
Mature?
grounded. A little, yeah. Well, she goes through a lot. So the trauma
Yeah.
really forms and evolves her as a character.
Yeah, plus she's hanging out with so many people who only wear black now.
Right. That'll change you.
Well, but like the Legally Blonde of it all, I cannot express how I feel about her as a whole, right? Because like I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that Mac knows who she is right now, right? Because so much of the way she talks about her habits and herself is very like, I am Southern Belle. Southern Belle act like this, period, the end. And then I think like as she goes to a different country at the start of this book, and that's going to change a person, mature a person, not even get into all the paranormal and family drama that we get to, you know?
Yeah.
This book did single-handedly fuck up my search algorithm, though, because now I'm getting a lot of notifications about flights to Ireland, because I did spend like an hour looking at flights to Ireland and Scotland.
So is it your algorithm, or is it just you being like, I'm going to go to Ireland?
Well, the funniest thing is I don't really have an algorithm anymore. It fucked up my algorithm in my brain. All I can think about is how soon can I get to Ireland? Well, because, so like the first time I went to England, I was supposed to spend a weekend in Dublin.
You were, and
Edinburgh. And then that weekend, Harry Styles was doing his music thing. And so plane tickets, instead of being $50, were $600.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
And hostels were completely sold out. So like I didn't go, but like I desperately want to go. And this bitch Mac rolls in like a Mac truck, and she's like, hey, let's talk about Dublin. And I was like, I could go work in Ireland for a week.
It does sound really beautiful.
Actually.
And the book makes Ireland sound pretty amazing.
Also terrifying.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not ideal there, obviously.
Yeah, the old folk are coming back.
Yeah.
As somebody who has a fear of the dark even now.
Oh, God. Oh, my God, I forgot about your fear of the dark.
Yeah, I have a fear of the dark still.
Oh, my God.
And I probably always will. And so the shades in this book...
the shades are
not
pretty
cool.
scary.
I'm not okay with them. Okay?
No.
Yeah, the shades,
They are
listener,
terrifying.
are fae who are barely sentient, and they don't really have bodies. And so what they do is they make your body into confetti because they
I'm
need
just
a
going to
body.
say, Mel,
Like,
that's a
physics.
bold
Eat it.
statement to say barely sentient, because we don't know that. We never get that confirmation in this book.
Oh, that's true. That's true. She's
Yeah.
wondering at the end whether or not the shades have some sort of like deal with what's his butt, the druid or not druid. I don't
Barons.
know. Barons, yeah. Okay, look. So
We got to start from the beginning. Let's go.
Yeah, we get all this like download, and it's very ominous because she's like, I didn't know about this a year ago though, and so that's where I have to start the tale. And we turn the page, and she's doing, I'm sorry to say it, a big Sookie Stackhouse suntan. Okay, sorry, there it is. It's very, I'm a bartender. This one, she's like, I'm a waitress. And she's doing that suntan out on the front lawn. And then she gets a call because the worst has happened. And her sister, who is in Ireland at a study abroad, has been murdered really hard. It's not great. She's not fully together after the murder. And so the parents are beside themselves. And then she's feeling really helpless, you know, and she's feeling like her sister doesn't have an advocate in Ireland, like boots on the ground. And so her case is just being like overlooked and put on the discard pile. So she decides she's going to go. Period. The end. Her family's fighting her, but then she gets a voicemail. Does anybody want to talk about the voicemail?
Sabrina's got a puzzled look on her face.
Are you doing a look away for a thinky reason, or a look away because you hear something in the distance?
I'm thinking. I just had a sudden realization about how hard I did in Sherlock Holmes this book.
What?
There's really so little to reveal. I don't understand what's to Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, what's to Sherlock Holmes?
I was just thinking about Alina, the sister, and like everything, and the phone calls, and I just suddenly registered, like, I just did Sherlock Holmes a single damn thing in this book.
You were just on a journey.
Every single thing in this book was like getting slapped in the face with a wet fish. Because like I was listening listening to you and I started
It does
thinking
sound
about the
very
parrots, and like there's a lot of stuff laid down that like thinking now in the presence of other people who've read the book and somebody who has read the whole series, I could have thought a bit more critically about this book and made some connections.
Listen, you were distracted by her white capris. I don't know what you want from
Say,
yourself.
I love how unapologetically like legally blonde she is.
She Barbies hard.
She wears flared white capris and a little camisole and a matching sweater,
My God,
cardigan.
if I don't know a single thing about anything that is in this book, I know that this girl loves iceberry pink nails.
Yeah, she's got her matching nail polish.
Yeah. Man, that one skirt that she says is like totally straight and rainbow colored until it frills at her ankles.
Oh my goodness.
That was a journey for me quite a bit. You know,
Yes.
just trying to figure that out. Yeah, the only time she sounds normal to me is when she's wearing that slut dress that Fiona gets her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's not actually something she would choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt very disconnected as far as fashion and things are concerned.
Sure.
You know?
Sure, that
But
makes
anyway,
sense.
yeah, so she gets this voicemail. So she's gotten this call from Ireland, all of these things, and then her phone was dead. She dropped it in the pool. And when she finally got it fixed or replaced or whatever and listened to her voicemail, she had one from Alina in Dublin. She sounds terrified. She's frantic. She's like, oh my God, I believed him. I shouldn't have. Like, I thought I loved him, but he was one of them. And he's coming after me.
And you don't even know what you are. And like,
you don't even know what you are.
We have to find the smidsmiddle, is what she says on the voicemail, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
that thing.
she's like, did I hear that right? Because it went as she was saying it.
successfully says Shisadu, but
Sure.
she doesn't know what it is.
and how to spell it.
And it's in Gaelic, the hardest language to spell.
It is.
I think there's a C in Lillian in Gaelic. Like, Gaelic is wild, okay? There's nothing phonetic about Gaelic. Gaelic is a totally different alphabet, but it looks the same as our alphabet.
You
and
know,
it's
it
wild.
could be that it's phonetic in Gaelic, though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a different alphabet, but it's the same letters. That's very confusing to me.
It is very
At least
confusing.
in Russian, it's like, a Cyrillic or whatever it's called. What's it
Cyrillic.
called? Cyrillic, thank you.
Skrillex.
Cyrillic.
Skrillex.
Yeah, that's
Man.
exactly what I thought as well.
Yeah.
And then her message gets cut off. She's like, he's after me. Oh no, he's here.
Oh,
Dead.
Oh my
God.
God.
And she's like, okay, well, obviously now I have to go to Dublin to handle this. And I was like, couldn't be me. Nope. You couldn't get me 1,000 miles from that country after
I
that.
just I feel like for a sister, though, don't you think protective instincts kick in?
Yes, for sure. I think the only reason that I would hesitate is just because I don't trust my own investigative skills.
Oh, yeah.
I would be
Well,
like,
she
what
has never
melody
lacked
do
for
over
confidence
there?
in her life, so
Well, that's the thing.
But she's 22, so it's like
Yeah, totally.
you have the unshakable confidence of an early 20s.
Agreed. No,
person.
totally agreed. Actually, yeah, my 22-year-old self would have barreled into Ireland hard.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good point.
Especially
here,
if I
here
don't know
now,
that there's a paranormal element.
Yeah, no.
If I just
totally.
think it's like a shitty abusive boyfriend or something like that, like, yeah, I'll go fuck some shit up, I think. You know?
I think part of it also is like, I think nowadays I would be less likely to go over there just because there's so much you can do online
Sure.
Mhm.
and reaching, I don't know. I also feel like nowadays
You could start a social media campaign and
you could start a social
Yeah.
media campaign. I also feel like you could find some true crime aficionados on Reddit who will have that shit solved in 10 minutes flat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess at 22 I would have been
Yeah.
let me bring my happy ass down there and
Yeah.
fuck some shit up. And now I'm just well aware that I'm not really capable of fucking shit up.
Sure. Well, okay, and I know the sister didn't mean to do this because, let's be real, I hope she didn't know she was imminently on death's doorstep. However, that's the meanest thing she could have done. Like, it's one thing to leave a voicemail. It's another thing to start the voicemail off with, "Why is your phone not on? How could you abandon me like this? You're the person I called when I should have been calling 999 or whatever it is in the UK."
By the way, how wealthy are these people? Because there's a lot of across the pond phone calls every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking about that.
I don't think they're hurting for money at all. Like, I think they're doing fine. They're a rich lawyer
Her dad's
in the South.
an attorney, of some sort.
Okay,
tax attorney.
because like I was like while I was reading this, I just kept thinking that I was so aware that this was 2005-ish, mid-noughts, and I was like, this is expensive.
And you know what? I did love that because there was a moment when she was in Ireland where she was like, and I was pretty stoked that I got back in time to make the call from the bookstore phone.
Yeah, that was relatable.
Yeah. So, okay, look, she goes over to Ireland because she is going to Nancy Drew this shit and make it happen. Or she's just going to, like, lean on the police until they get serious about it.
She's going to be so annoying that they can't stop. Like, they have to solve this case.
Yes,
basically.
and, like, that I could absolutely do.
Frankly,
You know
I think
what
she could have
mean?
been more annoying.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a famous Columbo method of solving a crime, is just to irritate everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Until they have no choice but to do it to get you to leave them the hell alone.
Yeah. Ooh, I can be a burr in your bonnet, a bee in your bonnet, a burr in your britches, I think is the term,
Under the saddle.
phrase.
I think
Maybe.
all of those are actually shockingly phrases.
I think a lot
That's
of them
unusual.
are actually,
for you.
right?
Unfortunately, it's not knowing
cooking with
phrases
gas.
in 2025.
Fuck. Da.
What's her last name, Mel?
No. Her name. What's her first name?
That's a great question. What's her first
Have
name?
we said her first name?
Mac is short
No.
for?
Mac. Michaela. Lane.
That's
Lane.
the one. Ms. Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Thank you so much for the assist there,
You're so
Rebecca.
welcome.
You were very kind and generous
Wow,
and charitable.
Rebecca is so much nicer to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I did Kool-Aid Man my way on here, so I feel like I have to be a little generous.
You can be whatever you want. Yeah.
All right. So she's here though. So she's in Dublin and she's at her first thing is she goes out for food. She's like, I'm going to go find like some good Irish grub, and she's at a pub. And then she notices a weird thing out of the corner of her eye. And this might be the point where I know about of Ireland because she sees a super hot guy talking to like
Ooh, he's
a
hot.
not super hot lady. And she's like, what is happening here? And then all of a sudden, super hot guy turns into the creepiest described fuck in the whole world. He's like 10 feet tall. She's like looking at him, but his face is like long and tall and skinny.
He's referred to as the gray man later on.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
And she
He's
notices
like mottled
well,
and gray and pussy and oozing and
Yeah, all of them have some sort of like decay around them, all of these gross fae, because there are two factions, the gross ones and the hot ones. The gross ones and the sex ones, I feel like, are the two factions for me.
I feel like the sex ones are just any of the royalty. And also, like, they said that the hot one, there's hot gross ones too.
yeah.
Oh,
there's
really?
there's hot unseelie as well.
Yeah, because there's hot
Okay.
The
princes,
high
fae.
princes, the high fae of both courts are hot. So
And they're also sex ones?
yeah.
Really?
Let me tell you, the sex prince scenes in this book was not on my bingo card.
No,
For
I was
2025.
not expecting
Like,
that.
I was...
Museum nudity was not on my bingo card.
Holy shit. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, she sees this guy and he and before that, he took an entire bottle of liquor off the wall and nobody noticed him do it. And so she's like, all of this is weird, but I have been traveling for 18 hours. Maybe I'm just tired, is what she thinks.
I feel like at first her Fey vision is kind of flickering in and out. Like she hasn't learned how to focus it. So it's kind of like she's seeing double, right? And
yeah.
Well, like, understandably, it might be jet lag at this point.
Yeah, like
that's a
she
long
legit
flight.
thinks she's going crazy.
Yeah, but she does notice that every time this being touches the woman next to him, she like gets more and more decrepit and
Oh,
Yeah.
I fucked up.
He's like,
These are
draining.
two different times. There's the it doesn't matter. Continue.
She sees him twice.
Yeah, the first time is he's just drinking, and that's when the old lady comes out of nowhere and like whacks her across the back of the head.
Oh.
And like
Okay.
she's like, "What are you doing? You're gonna get us all killed!" You blah 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 blah. And
She's like, how dare you betray your kin like that, you O'Connor?
And she's like, "I'm not an O'Connor. I'm a Lane lady."
And this lady, no joke, is like, that flaxen hair and that beautiful skin and those shining eyes, of course you're an O'Connor. Okay, Karen Marie.
I will say, all of the
Google it.
descriptions of clothing and like her way of describing
And
how
her
she
body.
looks
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
peak not romance
Uh-huh.
author. I was like,
She's like, I'm sexy and I will describe it to you.
Yeah.
Look at my small waist and my large
yeah, I may not
boobs
explicitly
and butt.
say, everyone else is going to say I'm beautiful, and I'm just going to put down the facts. And it's that I'm
And I'm
a
just, like,
23,
pretty.
I'm a 24 waist or whatever. So I
Yeah,
was like,
24 waist. At one point, she talks about how her full breasts jiggle in the car.
never in my life.
Listen, I do confess that I have thought about my full breasts jiggling in the car. No, I haven't. No,
You
I
know
really
what?
haven't.
Even if you did, good for you.
I don't
I'm
know.
into
There are
it.
definitely some bras that I am hyper aware of. You know what bras
Yeah,
I'm talking
no,
If
no,
you have big
totally.
Yeah, of
boobs,
course.
it's
Like
those,
the demi
the
ones?
push-up bra.
Yeah,
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 the ones
yeah.
that like
and everything
hold them.
jiggles on the top.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but they don't move at all except like the top of the skin's just like rippling like a
Blittle,
little
blittle,
wave.
Yeah. Blittle, blittle.
What I call that is good engineering, right there.
Agreed. Yeah.
Mm.
So then this old lady is like, you're going to get us all killed. Like, if you're going to continue to act a fool, you at least need to do it somewhere else because I don't want you to die here. And she's like, this is very intense and I'm going to hold my Southern Belle head high and I'm fucking off and I'm going back to my hostel.
I will say that lady, not the most helpful person.
There are other ways.
No.
Yeah, not even other ways. She could have been a little slight. Like when she realized that this was like a baby
Yeah.
she's here. She
I
would
don't
have
know
been
that,
like,
yeah, like it once the Southern accent came out, I feel like she could have put more context clues together. But there was this moment where, what's his name? Barons is like, wow, I didn't think any of you existed. Like you who are out there in the world not knowing what you are and being untrained. So I feel like it is
Yeah,
like
she
a
is a rarity.
subculture that's very
Tight-knit.
intricate. Yeah, tight knit. I don't know. But then again, she would have like recognized an O'Connor if it was super tight knit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
How is she an O'Connor that she recognizes, but not an O'Connor that she specifically knows?
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
Yeah,
That's exactly
so
it.
exactly.
Yes.
also, like, let me tell you, as an American who was very recently across the pond, boy, you don't even have to open your mouth. They clock you. They know. They all know.
I don't think there was a
immediately.
single other person in the whole country of Ireland who would have been wearing what she was wearing. Like, ever. She talks about being in the rain in her flip-flops. And I'm like, that no Irish person looks like you right now. Like, no
No.
Irish person has ever worn a pair of white capris. Prove me wrong. Agreed.
Agreed. I'm going to need a
to be
few more
fair, that is
earth
a-
tone knits. Thank you
That is
very
a
much.
bold choice of clothing for a place that rains
Exactly.
a lot.
Not a welly in sight on this bitch.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next couple of days, we're going to motor through that because she's just sort of like bumbling around Ireland, being like, anybody know what Schmurtle Fay sounds like? Or what's that word? And everybody's like, what? I'm not talking to you. Like, keep moving. Or they'll be like she says the Gaelic word for fairy. And so they explain to her like, oh, we got a tourist on our hands. Like, everybody's coming here for the fairies. And she's like, okay, you can fuck off. I'm here for serious business. This is my grieving process, actually.
Wow. I will say that the way that grief is talked about and described in
Yeah.
this book is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I was real emotional reading some of it.
I
But
know.
yes, at one point she, which like this is such a mood. She's lost in Dublin at some point. This is a couple of days later. She's walking through this like empty, derelict, covered in trash part of the city. There's no lights, but the sun's not quite down yet. And she's lost. And she's walking like, she's like, I'm just going to follow this person and hope that she's taking me back to civilization. And then the lady is like peeking over her shoulder because it's very clear that the only other person in this derelict part of the city is following her. And she's like,
she
"Get
feels
away
like a
from me!"
mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what a mood. And she's like, why is she running from me? And I'm like, only a small town, Southern
Yep.
Belle, would be like, what is happening? She thinks you're going to mug her, Mac. She thinks you're about... Like
She thinks that you're the diversion so that somebody can come up from behind her and steal her purse while she gives you directions.
Yeah, and so
Like-
she like hollers and she's like, no, I just need help. I don't know where I'm going. The lady just like points left. Oh my God, I've never felt more seen than this moment where she was trying to get directions from somebody and didn't understand his accent.
Oh.
And so she just, it was a 50-50 chance and she just went in a direction. And then he was like, no, that way.
It's
and
the
like,
other way.
Let me tell you. Okay,
And
so
he
Are you
says,
deaf?
"Are you deaf, lass?" And she says, although he could have been saying, you have a hairy ass.
okay, so quick story time. I was
Yeah.
a fresh baby 18-year-old, gone to college in Lafayette, Louisiana. If you've never been to Lafayette, Louisiana, especially if you are, like, I was from Southern California, and I crash landed in Lafayette, like 3 days before everybody else is getting on campus, and I get a taxi to the school, and I have no idea where my dorm is. I don't know where I'm going. I see a dude who looks like he works at the university, and I go up and talk to him. Listener, if you've never heard the Cajun accent, especially a very thick one,
Yeah.
and you're not
familiar?
I don't want to say unintelligible, but kind of like I had never experienced anything like it before in my life, and I was a Mac. I asked him for directions, and he started talking, and I went, oh, I don't know anything this man is saying.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is because Cajun is similar to Cockney in that it's not just sound differences. They also have like very specific random ass phrases that mean something completely different.
Yeah.
So,
And so,
yeah.
like, I was just like, I just started nodding and smiling, like, okay, and then, he was done talking, and I was like, thank you so much. And I started walking, and he was like, that way. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you.
Even better.
I have my whole life on my back in my bags. And I was like, all right, thank you, gotta go. And I was like, I don't know that I'm making it here.
Even the beautiful Blair and I in person when we met had some translation issues, me being Prairies, Canada, and her being, from the South. Like we had a few like moments where she was like, what? And I was like, excuse me? Did you say what? You said? And then I said, no, you anyway, so it can happen. I believe it.
It just made me laugh. I was like, oh, yeah, Mac, you know what? We're the same, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am the Kayla Lane.
Yeah. That's the only time Sabrina thought that in this book.
Yeah, probably.
She's in a super dark area, and then she feels like the heebie-jeebies all over her, and she can't pinpoint why. But she makes it out of there, and then she goes into a bookstore. She's thinking it's going to be like this little hole-in-the-wall bookstore, but it turns out it's like a cavernous Beauty and the Beast bookstore.
I love Baron's Books and Baubles or whatever it's
I don't understand Baron's Books and Baubles, but that's okay. I think it's actually a front.
If you think of it as a front, everything makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. If you look at it as a legitimate business, like there's no fucking way that would survive.
Why?
It has like 5 customers, and it's enormous. The footprint
And it's 3
is
stories tall
4
in one
stories
room.
tall.
Just heating that thing in Dublin would be so fucking
I guess that's
expensive.
true. Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. Plus, we find out later he has a Batman basement that is
that's
also
true.
wild.
Well, it's very clear that this guy is like a gazillionaire. There's no way that he's mortal. Zero.
Yeah, I don't
chance
think he's mortal. I think he might be part druid. I think he might, somebody fucked a fae back in his lineage, I feel like maybe. And I don't know that he lives in human years. I think he might have had a long time to put this generational wealth together.
Before you continue, Rebecca, also don't be a nice person. What's his name, Melody?
Oh, damn it.
You just said it.
It's
not that part of his name.
Barons.
Yeah.
Nope. He does have a full name.
No, he doesn't. Is what I've heard. No, wait. There was a moment where she said that biblical city, his first name isn't Sodom.
Nope. The one where the walls fall down. You're so close.
Sodom Barons.
Sodom and Gomorrah Barons.
All right, Gomorrah Barons, you sexy bastard.
I mean, Jericho isn't much better, to be honest. So, I don't know, man.
Man, I could have gone with Bethlehem, but Sodom came out of my mouth.
You were thinking Old Testament. You were doing really well.
It was. Thank you. I don't remember why the walls came tumbling. That's a biblical story I don't know.
They walked around them and they fell down.
Who walked around them?
The Israelites walked around Jericho. This is my biblical background coming through here.
I love it. I need it, obviously.
All right.
I'm an uncultured swine.
Is Rebecca going to be our biblical expert, as well as our fever expert.
Yeah, it's too incongruous, perhaps.
I do have to know, though, how close are we as far as Jericho is concerned?
Yeah, how close are we? Does he age in human years?
He, don't think does, no.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's not immortal?
I don't know what you mean by that. Exactly.
Interesting.
When would we find out?
Yeah. Is it like book 6? Because calling this a romance is fucking laughable. Okay,
I know. There's no
if
romance
anybody's
in the first
gonna wreck
book, really.
this as a romance series, I feel like you have to wreck like the first 3 books probably if it goes at this pace.
Yeah.
So I did do some light Googling because I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay.
And it looks like Michaela's the first 5 books before it, and then I got confirmation because I did ask you this, Rebecca.
Before it does what?
It kind of splits off. So Michaela Lane kind of gets the first 5 books.
Okay.
And then we move to another character that you haven't met yet. And kind of like, it's more of her POV. Michaela's still in it, but it's like her POV. Okay. And then Michaela comes back for like the 7th, and then it's a different POV for the 8th. Like it kind of gets messy. Like the first 5 though is considered like the main, by most fans, like the main storyline, and then there's like another clump of books that's like a sort of Fever Part 2 sort of.
Got it. So it's sort of like the Hidden Legacy series where it's like 3 books and then
it's messier than that though.
That makes sense.
For sure. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
So Mac, like you find out lots of things about both Mac and Barons.
Because is she a
in
special
the first
she
5
seer?
books? Yeah, she's
not just a regular she seer.
No, she's real
one.
fucked up. Yeah, no, yeah.
Ooh, she's real fucked up.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh no, I'm gonna read this whole series.
You get hints, like you get hints in this book about like how she feels about the dark and like her nightmares and stuff. You get hints about like something that's not quite right about her coming later.
God, well, and she fights on instinct. Suddenly, she becomes just like a fighty times master at the end of this book.
Yeah.
So that's
I couldn't believe actually how little plot was in this book in a lot of ways. Like so much of it was set up for the next like 4 books. Because I kind of read them all at once because I came to it a little bit after they were published.
Okay.
Or the first few were published anyway. And so I just sort of read them through and I just couldn't believe going back like how much of the first book was just sort of set up.
I mean, she was effective at it though, because like
it was really good,
because like when this book ended, I definitely had a moment of wait, whoa, what the fuck do you mean this is the end of the first book?
I know, right?
Same.
And it's pretty zippy, like they're short books.
Yeah. Anyway, so, okay, look. She goes into this bookstore and she's like, may I use your phone to hail a cab? I'll buy something. And Fiona, the lady there, who's like, I don't know, 50 years old, I was hoping you were going to say the next books were about Fiona, but it makes sense that it's not. So she also, do Fiona and Barrons have a history? Because he talks about her falling in love with him. So she's getting that young dude. Oh, but he's probably
the feeling
old
that
in his...
Fiona was old.
She says 50.
Really?
So not old, but 50. Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, all right.
So anyway, she calls that cab and then she's like, hey, while I'm here, do you know what a she-sado is? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Fiona's like, it turns white immediately. All the blood in her body goes down to her feet. And she says, I have no idea what you're talking about. Why would you ever want to know that? Where did you hear from about it? And what are you doing? And she's immediately like, okay, that's really weird. I don't think it's anybody's business. Like, I just want to know what the word means. And then she looks over her shoulder and she says, Jericho, not Sodom, is what she says. And Mac turns around and he's like, I'm going to need this. There's a sexy man, maybe. He's older than her, though. He's like, I don't know. How old is Jericho in human body years?
I would
Are we
say
thinking,
like a strong
35 or-
mid-30. Yeah.
I was
Okay.
thinking like mid-30s, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. And she's 23.
Something like
Yes.
that.
Right?
Something around
I
there.
think so.
Early 20s.
Okay.
Early mid-20s.
So yeah, he's like, I need you to tell me everything about you, including your last name and social security number and where you're staying and all of that.
He's like, why are you asking after this thing? Except he says it a lot sexier than that. Boy,
It's Irish.
I thought.
It's Irish Times when he says it.
Boy, yep, sure is.
He doesn't have an Irish accent.
No, he has
a-
like a weird. He has
An
like a
unplaceable
muddled,
accent.
Yeah.
I
Which
wonder
makes
why
me
it's
think that he's
unplaceable.
been
And later
around
on, listener,
time.
he looks at her dead in her beautiful green eyes, because that's said no less than 8 times.
300 times.
Yeah, that her world is going to hell in a hand, or her world is falling apart, or something like that. Don't think that I didn't clock that.
He also talks about humans as though he's not one of them.
Yes.
There's no way he's human. There is
No, he's super not
zero
human.
chance that this alpha hole is human. Okay? Zero.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, my human knees cannot do what his knees do in this
Oh
book.
my
at
god,
the
are you talking
very
about the
least.
30-foot drop?
Yeah.
One of them, yeah,
God,
for sure.
Maybe there was a rope though. You don't know.
Psh,
Yo.
okay.
Do you like how he
Mission
gaslit her?
Impossible.
He was
Yeah,
like,
he
he was like, did you not see my rope? It's like,
So
'cause you
he
see it doesn't
is
mean it's not there.
basically like, he doesn't give her any answers, but it becomes very clear that there's something weird about this Shisadu. And then so she ends up getting in her cab because he like grabs her.
He almost grabs her
Yeah,
to
and
stop her
she-
from leaving.
she,
and
like,
maybe sexy
zips
torture
out.
her. She's wondering about it. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
It feels weird in her tummy, you know? But also her sister just died, so she can't think about shit like that. Sorry, Sabrina,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
you're right, though. You should say it with your whole chest, Melody. You are right. So she leaves. She gets back to her little hostel, and she goes to bed. And then she wakes up to knock, knock, knock on her hotel room door.
At 2 a.m. I don't care how old I have ever been in my life. If you knock on my door at 2 a.m, even when I was sprightly and youthful, ooh, I'll be so mad at you.
I just wouldn't have woken up.
she's not
Oh,
pleased, I would say.
That's true.
So
That's
she
true, but she
realizes
didn't kick any balls, you know what I mean?
No. Do you think
Yeah.
she could have?
Probably not. But she doesn't know that his clackers aren't human yet, you know?
Those clackers,
So-
yeah.
meaty clackers. Boy, that's a callback. That's an old reference y'all just pulled out of the
There, I just want you to know, speaking of clackers, that in the next book,
Yeah?
he
Oh my god, tell me everything.
threatens to whip out his cock at
Yes,
one
please.
point
Uh-huh.
because she's like something and you're not something and you're not, a man or whatever. He's like, do you want me to
Whoa.
prove it? And so he's about to like whip it out to prove it. And she's like, please, you're a lefty, Barons. And he's like, touche, Ms. Lane. And the whole like righty and lefty thing I had never heard of until this book, where she and her sister would identify whether men, I guess, hung to the left or right.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Like, I was like, you know, it was the first time I'd ever really encountered this idea that you would be looking for people's genitalia in their pants and
Sure.
So I knew
identifying
about the whole dress
whether
left
they
or
draft
right,
to the
but I have never looked at a person in my life and gone, which pant leg is that penis down right now?
But like, I think it was more like he's large enough that you can see at a glance whether he's left or right.
That just makes me think of people going to the club with a literal salami in their pants to make it seem bigger than it is.
Oh my God, y'all. I hope I sent it to somebody because I just saw this reel or whatever of this guy. It's supposed to be him like doing a workout at the gym, but in the mirror there randomly is just like a stranger in the background also working out. And you don't realize that, like, that's the person you should actually be looking at until you can literally see his dick start swinging in his gym shorts, and his dick is like almost down to his knee.
I've seen that one.
What?
It is so long.
It is so wild.
Shockingly long.
And I don't know if it's a comment or the caption or something, but somebody said, "What is he feeding that thing?" It's one of the funniest things I've ever read.
I wonder what the world's longest penis is.
Excuse me while I
Oh
cackle.
Please hold. Y'all keep talking about the actual book.
Are you gonna Guinness Book of World Records us?
I am about to Guinness Book of World Records us.
Oh, I don't want to know.
Oh no!
Some things are
I'm
just too
also
long.
very importantly doing this on incognito.
I don't think I
tab.
need to know about a trouser anaconda.
Well, then you
know?
can close your ears and I'll share with listener. Okay?
That's fair.
Because
That's fair.
somebody is
Listener
listening
deserves
to this going, I don't want to Google that either, but I am curious.
Sabrina is just taking one for the team, and they are a generous human being. And what
You know
can
what?
we say?
They love doing a public service, you know?
Uh-huh.
So he's at her door. Oh no, her face. Oh no, what is her face? Her face makes it even worse.
Oh no.
What is it?
Her
Oh no,
face is-
tell us.
Oh,
say it.
yeah.
Oh, don't say it. No, say it. Oh no, she saw something else.
What? I'm so scared right now.
All right. So, if you Google,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the AI search stuff turned off on my Google.
Good
so
idea.
the first thing that comes up is so I'm not exactly taking this as, fact, right?
Sure.
It's from the Daily Record, ironically,
Okay.
in the UK. And it says, watches man with world's longest willy measures his ... And then the description, the little
more
description
willy?
of this article says, 54-year-old, blah, 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 has a penis measuring a record-breaking... Would y'all like to guess?
No. I wouldn't. No. I'm so scared. I'm honestly like on the edge of my seat, terrified, Sabrina.
18.9 inches long.
Centimeters. No.
And then, if you go to images,
Oh.
which I shouldn't have gone to.
Never do that. Never do that. No.
Does that man have enough quarts of blood in his body to support an erection that large? Like, I don't know.
It's very long.
I
I
don't
wonder if your overall like blood pressure goes down when you're hard when you're
Yeah,
that
I'm
big?
wondering.
Yeah, all right. That's enough of
Can
that.
he
I'm
do other
glad.
stuff when he has an erection? You know, like, does he have basic brain function
feel like
with
you would
all
just
of that
pass out.
blood not in there?
You would just pass out. Like, your blood
Right?
pressure would drop so hard and so fast.
Yeah.
Like,
Why is it ironic that it's in the UK? Is there a stereotype that UK men have small
no,
penises?
but we're just talking
Just
about
we're
how
talking
massive
about it.
Jericho's massive Dong is.
And he is in the UK. Okay, got it,
Yeah,
got it.
Not really.
Yeah, he's in Ireland.
Yes, you are correct. He is,
which is not
adjacent
in the UK.
to the
It's
UK.
not in the UK.
No, Northern Ireland.
I thought half of it
is
was
in the UK.
Northern Ireland is, yep.
Oh, it's the North. Wow. Well, here I am over here. Just
Well,
being a dumbass.
Michaela Lane, learn something
also-
about geography.
Yeah, there's also, just so you're aware, Melody, so you don't make this faux pas, there's no such thing as Southern Ireland. Like, there's no capital Southern.
No. Yeah,
capital
there's no. I
Ireland.
knew that. I just can never remember which one is affiliated and which one hates it. You know.
Yeah.
It's fine. I flew to England in October for one of my best friend's weddings, and they've spent the last 14 years of our lives continuously explaining over and over and over again British versus UK versus English versus, like, all of the terms.
All those things are different terms.
Versus Welsh versus Scottish. Right?
Specifically those
specifically UK versus British versus England
English.
is three different connotations, definitions.
Oh boy. Well, why can I have their number?
And I'm not going to explain it to you right now, Melody,
Aren't you?
because I don't remember.
Should
off the
we
top of
start
my
a
head.
group chat?
Anyway, God, this is just like giving me flashbacks to when poor Emily was like explaining the difference between like Duke and Viscount. I like the like all of those things, and I was like, well, what about this? And she's like, there's not really like a black and a white answer there. You know, it's like.
Good Lord.
Anyway, so she fucks off. She gets home. He shows up. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then he tells her he got in there by saying, "I'm her brother," and they just let him pass the front desk. And so she is like, "Well, I'll open the door because, like,
according to him,
like,
do you believe that?
What? That
You're
he's
right.
your brother?
No.
What? No. No. What is Karen Marie Moning out here in these streets doing in 2006?
Do you think that he actually told the clerk that he's her brother and therefore got up?
No, he probably pole vaulted up
he
into
probably
the window.
scaled the window,
and then
to the window
climbed through
like
somebody else's room, invisible, and then got into the hallway, is what I think.
Oh my
With
god,
druid shit.
Oh my god.
Druid,
By the way,
yes.
I was picturing her hotel room as my hotel room the last time I was in England.
Like a tiny little hospital.
Because my first time in England, I was at an Airbnb with like 5 of my friends. And so like it was a very different experience. I have never felt stupider in my life than walking into I couldn't figure out how the power worked. I thought that the power was out. I couldn't figure out how.
Right, because they're usually on switches, right?
You,
Like you have to turn the
apparently
switch on? Yeah.
you put the key
Yeah.
at this hotel. You put the key in a thing to turn on the power for the room, which is brilliant because it means that you have to take your key with you and it turns off everything in the room, right, to leave. But
it's like
I
that season of The Real World where they couldn't watch TV unless they were powering it with a bicycle.
Not quite. But I see what you're going.
less
Yeah.
cardio.
That
Less
immediately
cardio
made me think
involved.
of that, though.
But like I was like walking around this room, I couldn't figure out how anything worked. And like I literally messaged my friend. I was like, friend, I'm lost and I can't go ask the people at the front desk because like they already know I'm American. Okay? Like they can tell. And I cannot bring myself to go up to them and ask the questions that I have to ask them. Like, please explain all of the. And so, like, I was like video chatting with them. And, like, what do I do here? How does this work? What? Like, and I was like, I have 2 degrees. I have 2 degrees.
But none of them are in electricity in England. So, you know,
Yeah.
you're
That's
okay.
true. That's true. But, like, it wasn't just the electricity. I didn't know how anything in that room worked. I was like, how do I flush this toilet? How do I, like...
Okay.
Anyway.
So he's like, we need to exchange some information. And she's like, well, since you asked so rudely, fine. He goes into her room and he's like, where did you find out about this she used to do? I don't even know if she tells him. Does she tell him about her sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she plays the message
She
for
plays
him.
the recording.
Mm.
And then he asks her a lot of questions, and I was like, bro, it's very clear that this is the extent of the information that she has.
Right?
You know, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, though, so...
Okay, I did clock
That's
that.
fair.
Was that not a common phrase?
No, that was so silly. She
In
was
the
like,
mid-tones?
I've never heard that. I laughed.
Okay. I was like, there were a couple of times that she was like, it was very clear that she was like, wow, what an interesting and I was like, that's just a
That's
phrase,
normal.
Mac.
That's
That's
normal
just a
That's
thing.
just stuff people say in English. Yeah.
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 I
Interesting.
need you to know right now, and it's a spoiler for you and for listener,
Yeah.
that in book 7, you find out that this scene, this night that they met, does not go the way that Mac remembers it going.
What?
And there is,
What?
in fact, and this was a huge bomb dropped for both Mac and for the readers. And a lot of people hated it. But I was obviously down because, you know, your girl loves a morally gray asshole.
Hell yeah.
Her memory of this event has been altered. So the next
By who?
morning, by the man who
Him.
she is talking to in her room. And so the next day when she wakes up with like bruises across her ribs, she didn't get them the way that she thinks that she got them.
How does she get that?
And I have an alternate POV from his POV scene that I can share with you
Yeah.
that will change everything. But just be warned, it is like a very it was a controversial and a big spoiler. And so
Okay, you're pulling a fucking Jericho Barons right now. Just give
You
me
are.
the fucking spark notes, Rebecca.
I'm into it.
What the hell? What happened?
I can't.
Unless you want to read it to us word for word.
I can't. I can't do that to listener. What if they want to read it?
Okay, listener, scoot forward like 30 seconds if you don't want to get this spoiler. Rebecca, tell
Yeah.
us.
Are you serious? I sent it
Yes,
to you
tell
in the
us
chat.
with your
Okay,
words.
okay. Okay, I will tell you with my words. Listener, you've been warned. They have sex that night.
No! No!
What?
They have 5 hours of sex that night. They have multiple times of sex.
Why?
They have
Does he
so
erase it?
much sex
Why?
that night.
Why does he erase it?
Because he turns around as he's about to go, he sees the regret in her eyes, and he's like, she's not ready for what she really is. Like, she's not really ready to face like how she really feels about anything,
Oh.
or really like her true kind of self that she has
self
like revealed
and
over this.
and
Over this evening. So he erases
I'm
it
gonna
all
be reading this whole thing.
and
Oh my
goes
god,
officially
damn it.
down the
Okay,
rabbit hole.
goes
Fuck.
back to like ground zero, square, whatever.
Okay,
square
so
one with
like
her.
I had at the end of this book, I had made the decision that I'm going to continue the series. I'm not going to voraciously imbibe it the way that I
Sure.
have been other
Not like a
things.
traditional rabbit hole. Yeah.
I'm making the choice to read it. It's not the compulsion, you know?
Yes. Okay.
The kind of compulsion that led me to fall asleep at 4:15 this morning because I couldn't stop reading Lord of Ice by Galen.
Yup. Yup.
I will
That's
say
the
that
third
after
book.
this book, every book ends on a fucking cliffhanger. So
Of course.
it's gonna start getting more and more like, oh well, now I need to know what the fuck happens.
Well, and frankly, I hadn't decided how intense I was about continuing to read this until you literally just gave us that spoiler. And so now I'm like, well, I guess I gotta read this now. You know?
Do we watch
know,
the
I
sex
gotta-
happen, or do we find out like in a narrative way? Is my question.
She essentially gets her like
Memory
back. There's like a block on it, and then that block sort of like disappears.
Whoa.
I'm so sorry, listener. You should have gone farther than 30 seconds.
It's fine. If I have my shit together, I will put a timestamp in.
Will
You
you?
could do
see.
like you could do like a little sparkle Spoiler.
Anyway, yeah, so this may have kicked it up a notch. It hasn't kicked it above the rest of Galen Foley's Night Miscellany series, but
Sure.
I think I said that wrong. I've never heard that word out loud.
I would have said miscellany.
Yeah,
I think that's
miscellany.
the
But I
correct
think
one.
that miscellany is the British pronunciation.
Oh, look at you.
Probably. I don't know that for a fact. I just think
I am
that's-
accepting it as canon.
Cheerio, Chatty.
It doesn't matter what it actually is. Yeah, just watch all of our British, English, UK listeners be like, that's wrong.
That's
Blatantly,
wrong.
that's wrong. And
It's-
guess
yeah.
what? I don't care.
It's miscellaneous, is what they would say.
What?
There's like all these more letters in there that
Did you say
either aren't in
miscellaneous?
there. Yeah, either aren't
I
in there or
really
you don't pronounce the letters.
Must
Or
demand that
maybe
we
it's-
move on.
missy.
I must demand.
You're
that we-
correct, because we're
like
like
Leicester, like
15%
Leicester.
into this book.
Leicestershire.
So he leaves. And then
he
he's like,
leaves
"You're
fucking sated. We don't know that though.
But he leaves and she has no answers and she's like, I have no interest in you. And then this is when she has the experience with the gray man where she's at the bar, she goes to a pub, she gets food, and then she sees that creepy bastard sucking
Yeah.
the beauty out of this lady and turning her into
Yes.
like a husk of a person. And she's like, oh shit, I need to go talk to Barron's. And so she goes back to the bookstore. And boy, we are back on our shit because she shows up at the bookstore like 10 minutes after it closed. All of the lights are off. And then she yells out loud, but we're just like, ma'am, clearly this is a thing. She yells out at the door. She's like, Jericho, I need to know about the she-sa-do. And then he like appears out of the darkness and he's like, what are you doing saying that out loud? And like
Yeah.
shoves her into the shop while these shadows are moving in a way that shadows aren't supposed to
Ooh.
do it. And that's when I would have clocked out. Babe.
Bye, guys. I'm done.
Like, I'm not interested.
Yeah, prehensile shadows are not a thing where I live.
Yeah, and apparently like she never sleeps with all the lights off ever again, which sounds like hell. And so
It really
they're
does.
talking.
Better than the alternative.
True.
Ac-
Better than
ac-
being human confetti. They're also
I
dried
guess-
out.
Husks.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Parchment.
husky confetti. Yeah, wild.
Yeah, and so basically they're talking. He's like, I will keep you safe. Kind of. But
Yeah.
actually, you're definitely being hunted now. So you have to go chop off all your hair and dye it a different color. And so she goes, and magically her hair has no spots and looks beautiful on her. And it's now
Yeah,
shoulder length and perfect.
Turns out, doesn't matter what color her hair is, her skin bounces off it perfectly.
Yeah.
A universal experience.
Listen, Melody, she had to change her nail color because it doesn't match her new hair tone. So
That is actually true. She has to go for more autumn colors now.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Now the whole book has changed.
I know.
And it's kind
There's
of
also
amazing.
there's also other things that you find out that change the first book entirely.
Oh my God. Like, there's this moment later on because he starts. Look, so we find out that she is a person who can see fairies. He says he's going to train her, and now she lives at the bookstore. Congratulations, you don't have to pay rent anymore.
Yeah.
And then he starts taking her to like different places
She
because.
becomes his
basically
personal oop detector.
An oops detector.
Yeah, object of power.
Yeah, but it sucks though because basically she gets morning sickness every
Yes.
single time she encounters.
And like period cramps at the same
yeah,
time.
it's horrifying.
Oh
Oh my God. Like at one point she comes down to like show him her hair or something like that, and she just spontaneously hits her knees and vomits on the rug. And she's like, "What is my body doing?"
And
he
he's,
just has
like,
this
happy about it.
triumphant look on his face. And he's like, "Oh yeah, it turns out you can sense the she-sa-do because he has photocopies of a couple of pages." That's the reaction she gets at photocopies of a
Yep.
couple of pages.
Mhm.
She's gonna have double bucket syndrome with the whole thing.
She's gonna
She's
have
gonna-
what?
Double
I've
bucket
never heard that
syndrome.
expression in my life.
That's a
What?
That's a
It's
graphic.
it's an ass out of you and me thing. I've never heard that.
I haven't
It's-
either. I know exactly
Like
It's
one on
illustrative
each end?
for sure.
what you're saying.
Yeah, she has double. Yes. You won't know which end it's
okay,
going to come out. You've
I
got
was
to catch it both.
Melody.
Tell me how
I
it
was
is.
picturing the two buckets in front of you and your puke going in a spray between the two of them.
Honestly,
that is
you
what
sweet
I
that's a
summer
magic
child.
trick. Actually, that's
Oh.
a talent, is what that is.
I was like, wow, good aim.
Meanwhile, I was imagining essentially spit roasting on two buckets because
I think that's accurate.
Spit roasting in reverse.
Yeah.
yeah. Instead of something
Spit roast
anything
fire
going in
hose.
both ends,
I'm
it's
so
everything's
sorry,
coming out
listener.
both
This has
ends.
gotten real gross. I'm so sorry for you.
No.
And for me also.
I'm just saying, Karen Marie Moning is the one that said it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just recapping here.
By the
okay?
way, something I learned
Yeah.
this book, it's Moning, not moaning. If
Oh.
you Google
I
Karen
beg
Marie
her
Moning.
pardon?
Yeah, I
If
beg
you
her
Google
pardon. It should
Karen
be
Marie
moaning.
the first thing that shows up on Google is Karen Marie Moning, parentheses, Moning, parentheses. So I'm going to guess that this
I-
is something that she's
I
dealt with a
reject
lot.
that wholeheartedly. As a
I
KMM fan, I can't change now.
I thought it was
like-
really charming that a romance author, one of her last names was Moning.
That's
I
probably
thought
why
that
she
was
corrects
awesome.
people.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fair.
I love this. Just
That's fair.
if you're out there, listener, if you're considering being an author, you have at least two people who are like, I would love it if your last name was just orgasm.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I said moaning.
It's
Fine.
subtle, Sabrina. It's
Yeah.
subtle.
It's demure. Okay.
It is.
It's elegant. All right.
Demure.
Yeah.
So she's living there now, and we see three places that he takes her
Mhm.
to be a little oops detector. And the first place is
His scent dog, his hound dog.
yeah, because oh my
his
god,
hunting dog.
the phrase where she's like, a hunter never leaves without his hound dog. So like, obviously I had to go. I was like, why was that sexy?
I don't know, but it was. Also, one of them, I think the first one they go to, he looks at her and he says, like, don't touch anybody because, we found out she's also a null, which means that she can freeze Fae by touching them.
Right.
And so
and their
he's
power
like,
doesn't affect her if she touches them.
something
Well, only
like
if they're
that.
frozen. Like
Oh, okay.
when they're
Yeah,
frozen.
yeah. Yeah. So because of that, he's like, don't touch anybody. We don't want to give ourselves away. And then he looks her dead in her uneducated face, I guess, is how I have to say it, and says, act like you like me even a little bit. And now that I know about the other night, like, that changes everything.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no, you want to know what it really changes when
Tell
he
me.
says don't talk, don't speak because you're essentially arm candy and she's like, "But," and he's like, "If you do talk, I'll find something better to do with your mouth."
No, he doesn't say that to her. He says to the other guy that she doesn't talk often because usually her mouth is too
That's
full.
what it is. That's what it is. Are there listeners, skip forward 15 seconds. Is there a blowjob that night?
Oh fuck yes.
I mean, I would
okay.
imagine so in 5 hours of sex.
Hey, you don't know.
I don't know, but I said I imagine.
I
Yeah.
also imagine.
I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm like the things that I want to spoil but can't bring myself to.
Okay,
for you
so I'm
are
gonna say
just,
I'm
like,
going to be
bubbling
reading
under
this
the
series now,
surface.
and you're coming back for a Patreon. We're gonna revisit the series at some point.
Yeah.
God knows when, because I have like 18 historicals to get through.
I can
But-
clear my schedule. I did it. Like last night you told me that I was coming and I opened the book and read it in 2 hours and cleared my whole schedule. I was like, I have nothing better to do.
My favorite was in the book chat. She's like, husband, hold my calls.
And have you heard any calls? No, he has held them.
That's right. Beautiful. Okay. So the first one that they go to is like this, I don't know, this black and white house.
Casa
and
Blanc.
like, sure. And the guy doesn't know that his personal bodyguards are Rhino Boys, which are Unseelie, the bad ones who mostly are in prison and are trying to always get out of prison. And so they go to him and she doesn't feel anything. They walk around. Hey, Jericho, how did they get away with walking around and going into every single room in the mansion? And then, like, searching the grounds in, like, a grid pattern back and forth, it says, basically. Like, they go over every inch of this thing to see if she, like, poops herself. And I don't know how they got away with that. That's, like, really weird behavior. Anyway. So then the next one they go to is a vampire.
Maloosh?
Everybody believes Maloosh. Maloosh in the audiobook.
Oh.
Is what it was.
I had my mind opened.
And so when she goes there, he's like, he might not be a vampire though, like who knows. And then he like throws a guy 18 feet and maybe murders him with a concussion.
And his yellow eyes like change color and like it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And then when they leave, he finds out that she pickpocketed. She like stole this little box with a magic rock in it. And I think this is when she figures out that she can feel all objects of power, which is now called oopsies. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I like oopsies. Yeah.
I like oopsies too.
Yeah. And she also left everything out of her purse there.
She couldn't fit it in otherwise.
It just made me laugh, you
Oh,
know?
I
my
mean,
God.
surely she could have stuffed a lipstick in her bra. Like, I don't understand
Right?
why you had to leave
She
it.
may as well have left a calling card that said, "Hey, Maloosh, guess what? I stole your fancy rock. Get fucked."
And
She
that comes back
certainly
later.
did.
Because he knows. He's like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
took my stuff because I found your lipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she, by the way, so during all of this, now we have like a little like go away because we keep getting these scenes of her going to her sister's apartment and like checking on stuff because she's looking for her sister's journal. Yeah, and she's looking for her sister was a planner girly and a journal girly, and boy howdy, if she did not write down every single thing that happened that day, did that day actually happen?
Right.
Which I'm impressed by, because as somebody who has
Incredible.
always wanted to be a journaler,
Same.
I've never successfully done it once in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I actually have done it once. But then the problem is I never do it again
Oh, that's
until
true.
the
That's
next
true.
cycle. And then I do it once.
I
and
have
then
a lot
I don't
of
do it.
brand
highly
new
relatable.
journals with one entry, because I always think irrationally that
It just
this
takes
brand
a new
new
journal.
pretty journal
Yeah.
is what it'll take
Yeah.
to do the thing.
I've
So-
now graduated to one notebook where
Okay.
everything goes, whether it's a thought or a piece of writing or a something else. It's all in the same book. So it doesn't matter. So because the ADHD does not allow for continuity, then continuity
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
you can just write in the next open page and you're good to
I
go.
know. So now the third one is a mobster.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hold
cool
the fucking
it.
phone.
Whoa.
Before she goes to
Rebecca,
mobster-
will you skip something, Rebecca?
I must have.
Jeez.
Yeah. Was
We
me.
meet the sex prince in the middle of the street.
Oh, yeah, Vlaine.
She's walking down the street, and all of a sudden
Fucking
she's
Blade.
fucking topless and touching herself
She's
in the
thinking to
middle of the
herself,
road.
That's a cute guy. I wonder if he has a brother or three. So that I can fuck all of them right now in the street.
That was wild.
I wonder if he's into hashtag brother stuff.
Yeah. So it turns out he's supposedly, we don't have confirmation of this, but he's
Okay.
supposedly a good fae, a pretty good fae. And he is there on the queen's behalf, and they've got a mission for her. And so he's like, basically, I want to check in on you every once in a while. You just keep doing what you're doing, girl. Like, you have fun with that. Also, like, do you want to fuck? I can make it so you don't die. And she's like, no. And then she looks down and she is touching her clitoris in the middle of
For
the
sure.
She's thrown everything in the gutter because, wow, she's just a horny toad.
Yeah. It's horny toad season.
And he offers her this cuff, this fancy bracelet that's supposed to like protect her from everything except for him and his people, basically.
Oh,
Cuff of
I
Cruise?
missed that.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's supposed to be a way that they can, like, communicate, maybe, and, like, protect her, and it'll protect her from the shades. And she's like, I don't know that I want to accept something from someone that I don't know. And she showed the first good sense that she has in a while.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, I probably would have been like, really? It'll protect me? That's so nice. Then I would have put it on. No, look, and like, they're good, ? Except that, like, instead of eating you, what they want to do is string you out on sex. They like having sex with humans, but it's a little bit methy on the human system. Yeah. And so, but
he claims to be able to do it in a way that doesn't leave her an addict, a mindless addict. So
that's right.
Like, if she can pull it back a bit, pull back the effect on humans.
Interesting.
He claims, whether we believe that or not.
But she manages to walk away from this encounter without being penetrated by anything. So that was a great day for her.
Maybe her fingers.
I was going to say, I don't know that there's confirmation that she wasn't finger banging in the middle of the road.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then so he leaves, but he's definitely coming back at some point. There's no way that he's gone for good, which, listener, that check got cashed and I did not. That wasn't on my bingo card.
Wow, that was
Yeah, and so this is where he overhears a conversation, which is where Mel got that Fiona and Barron's had a thing at some point.
Yeah.
And she's been wondering if, like, can I trust this man whose house that I'm staying in and all of these things.
It is hot. Mm-hmm. I begrudgingly think he's hot.
Which, like, I think he's hot too. You're fine.
You know what? I'm not there yet, but I bet I'll get there in book 2. Yeah. Anyway, but what she overhears from Fiona is Fiona saying, like, you have to let this girl go. She doesn't understand the amount of danger she's in from every side. She doesn't get the magnitude of the situation that she's in. And he's like, I didn't say that I was a good. I said might makes right or something like that. And have you seen the gun show? I know that you asked for tickets earlier and I gave them to you. So you should know how strong I am and how much I don't care about good things. I care about job getting done. And you're gonna and then he mind bends her somehow. Mm-hmm. What's her name?
You caught that.
Mac doesn't know how, but all of a sudden she's like, he says, do you agree, Fiona? And she goes from, like, a regular voice to being like, yeah, Barons, of course. Ooh.
Yep, suddenly, I caught that.
That was convincing, Sabrina.
Yeah. So he has a mind power of some sort, Sabrina. I bet it's druid stuff.
You don't have to tell me. You might want to tell listener.
No, I know. I was only telling listener, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And now we go to mobster times?
Now it's mobster time.
Yeah. So she's going to go into the Irish mafia den. And he takes her there. And boy, she's mad that he ordered her steak perfectly. Ooh, how dare
she is wearing the sluttiest dress she's ever worn in her life.
She's wearing
that seems no shorter or more revealing than anything else that she wears.
It's just not pink.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Although I guess the back is open and she doesn't usually wear open back. But still, I was like...
It's black and it has a jewel on the bosom, is what I got from it, in her cleavage.
Sure.
And her boobs jiggle with it, too. This is the jiggle moment.
This is the jiggly boob dress.
He does look at them a lot.
He gets distracted by them, and I understand. Then they get, like, summoned to the back by the Dawn, and he... lives in a religious museum. So everything back there is Catholic, including, like, a saint bone ?
I have to go back. Back to this moment where they're in the car together.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was a moment that I, as a first-time reader of this book, probably reread 20 times. I guess because my romance heart was, like, grasping at straws.
Okay. Tell me everything.
Oh, yeah. That's a move, by the way.
Yeah.
So she folds her arms as they're about to go over the train tracks because she's trying to hold in the boobs. And then as she crosses them, she can feel her eyes on her bosom. And she says, I knew without even looking that he had that raw, hungry look on his face again. I refused to glance his way, and we rode for several miles in silence with him using up entirely too much room in the car and a weird tension eating up what little space there was between us. And then she goes, seen the new Gallardo Spider, I blurted finally. It's a car, I guess.
Yeah.
No, he said instantly. Why don't you tell me about it, Miss Lane? The playful edge in his voice was gone, and it was guttural and tight. And so, like, she goes on about cars in order to break the sexual tension.
Yeah.
And I was like, hello, I am ready for all of it.
I think that like, I thought that he was a sexy man just because, like, from the beginning, I was like, this is the hero. There's
This
no
is
way
the
this
sexy
isn't
man.
the hero.
Yeah.
This is the sexy man.
Yeah.
But, like, that was also the point when in the book where I was like, oh, this is actually the sexy man. This is our first glimpse of sexy man. Also,
this is our first glimpse of their sexual tension, their
Yes.
chemistry combined.
Also, you can definitely clock this book as a mid-knots because, as you just pointed out, boy, there's a lot of car talk.
So many cars and horsepowers too.
Yeah, she's like a girly girl, but she like knows her cars. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's in this like religious mob man museum thing.
Personal
and-
collection, kind of situation.
and she can tell that there's something nearby.
She goes, no, really, she says, oops, as she
she
fake
stumbles over
trips.
the door.
yeah. She's like, we didn't
She's
settle
so
on a code
subtle.
word, but I think he might have gotten it. I don't know.
Also, like, but
know.
like, it's like, did you ever talk to him about the fact that you specifically call them oops? You
Don't
know?
worry,
know.
she has talked about everything that's ever crossed her mind. Like, this
I
is
actually
not
think that's true.
a silent and mysterious bitch. Like,
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah,
accurate.
she's an open. She journals with her mouth.
yes,
Is what
she
she
journals
does.
and she journals with her mouth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. And so they end up leaving at some point. But while they're leaving, he's like, all right, we got to get changed into something you've never worn in your life, which is all black clothing. And we're crawling.
They're going spelunking.
We're pulling on Teenage Mutant Ninja Oops Finders.
Yeah.
And they do go crawling around in the sewer and they get to this door. So, like, this is really, frankly, my worst nightmare, actually. Because this is,
Yeah,
like,
it
not
is.
only is this dark, still water, this is also dark, creepy tunnel.
Yeah.
And
And
he
smelly
does.
also.
Super smelly.
Smelly is fine. I'm not a fan, but it's fine. But, like, the rest of this, no.
I
No,
didn't even
thank
think
you.
about this, but he says that he can get into the room from like a back way because he's quote unquote a good swimmer. Excuse me? Pardon? Huh.
Is
I
he a
wonder how
little-
he actually got in there.
Is he a little fish man?
Is he aquatic of any kind? Does he have aquatic elements to him?
We are asking you a direct question.
What a
This
good
is why you're
question.
here, Rebecca.
What an interesting
Exactly.
question.
When I asked her if he was a druid earlier, she had the audacity to ask me, wouldn't you like to know?
That is the most her response
I know.
I've ever heard in
That's why I
my
wasn't even mad
entire
about it.
life. Yeah, so Mac is the least mysterious bitch because Rebecca has all of the mystery.
Yeah. Rebecca's a locked
Woman
box.
of mystery on the Canadian plains.
That's where we're going to leave off for today. Tomorrow, we'll be back with part 2. In the meantime, check out Rebecca's wonderful, cozy contemporary romances. She writes as Lynn Camden, and her website is in the show notes. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.